I was saying that to the Chavzayin Adar, Tafshinun Beis, the whole year the Rebbe behaved in a very, very intense, totally independent way, meaning to always increasing in everything, pushing everything beyond the limit, and not consulting with anyone, and not warning anyone about anything. It's going to do this, going to do that. It was on one hand, you were able to see that the Rebbe's physical body was
deteriorating.
I wouldn't use that word.
Okay.
Slowing down. No. Nun Beis. Unfortunately, just watch clips of the Rebbe Nun Beis. It's a few months. You're like, what were they thinking?
As in what, letting the Rebbe go on?
Yeah, and not go to see some.
I'm sure they tried.
So some of them, yeah. So some of them did try. I mean, you see, Yud Shvat, Chav B'Shvat, it looks very, very like. First of all, the Rebbe is super pale. The Rebbe's voice very, very choking, and the Rebbe is super slow, holding on, but still, the Rebbe's mind and the Rebbe's spirit and the Rebbe's koyach is intensifying, crazy, by the hour, by the day. Masses and masses are coming, stays up and up and up and giving more, delivering more, intensifying siches and dollars and giving out and the heroes and doing and Mashiach and everything. But at the same time, you see it's taking a toll, and going to the oil and everything. And eventually, the last Sunday, the Rebbe stayed we had a person by our Shabbos meal last week who came here first time in 34 years. He said, I was here the last Sunday the Rebbe gave out dollars. Not from a person, from friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my mother was here 2 weeks before. 3 Sundays before. 3 Sundays before the last Sunday. She was here. So you could see on the Rebbe's face that it was getting very, 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 I don't know, very weak, if I can say, the body. But at the same time, it was almost like it was misleading because you walk out of the Rebbe said, do even more, and Chaim Nitzchim, and Mashiach, and this, and that, and Gesund, and Simcha, and Mishnechas Adar, and 2 Adars, and blah, blah. So you were completely carried away with the Rebbe's spirit, but at the same time, and then suddenly this hits. It was like crazy. And since then, I think Chabad Hasidim changed forever. They went.
Only some have.
No, we changed. We've been changed forever. We've been changed forever. We went from being old babies, being fed with a spoon into the mouth, and with the father holding your hand, helping you taking baby steps, to dropping you and saying,
Figure it out.
Yeah, I'm here.
Make your way through this territory.
The Rebbe warned, no? The Rebbe warned before another.
No one, when
We didn't understand.
a parent warns a child doesn't understand the warning until the things happen, and it's like, oh, he warned me. He told me about it. So that's what happened. And then, 2 years later, Gimel Tammuz happened, which was even more, because despite the fact that the situation was evolved in that direction, almost no one anticipated Gimel Tammuz, and most people, were in a complete different place when it happened. And then again, I was like, I told you you're on your own. So I stopped talking to you. Now you got to keep going. And now you're going to be really on your own, but you should know who is still behind and involved and with you doing everything. You just can't see it. That's the challenge. That's why the rational people, the normal people, the good people, the realistic people said right after Gimel Tammuz, we give Chabad movement 6 months to a year and a half to fade out and disappear from the surface. These people can't without their Rebbe. They're so obsessed by him. They gravitate and follow him so much they can live a day without him, they will never survive. And that's where they missed the point, because the Rebbe is like the father, is like, now you're on your own, but I empowered you and I empower you the whole time. Common sense says that these guys can't without the Rebbe. And like, you see, the Rebbe is davening, everybody's like, the Rebbe is moving, everybody's like, and the answer is that there are certain things that a child is able to accomplish only once
the parents let go.
Yeah. It's like, for example, right now my son is fighting me, and he's very upset at me. He wants to go to the dorm. He doesn't want to sleep at home. And I come up with all kind of tirutzim, all kind of excuses that, you're too young, stay home. That was the plan. That was the ideal.
That he stays at home or that he goes to the dorm?
That he goes to the dorm. He belongs to the dorm. And my job is to say no, and his job is to... You remember we spoke about Mordechai telling the kids,
right,
stay away from me, you might get burnt. And he's like, Itra anu, we're with you till death.
We can do it.
Yeah. So the Rebbe cannot prepare us to a time that he's not going to be here, but the Rebbe empowered us. So the real answer is what? That was the plan. That was the ideal.
That he stays at home or that he goes to the dorm?
That he goes to the dorm. He belongs to the dorm. And my job is to say no, and his job is to... You remember we spoke about Mordechai telling the kids,
right,
stay away from me, you might get burnt. And he's like, Itra anu, we're with you till death.
We can do it.
Yeah. So the Rebbe cannot prepare us to a time that he's not going to be here, but the Rebbe empowered us. And you can't even say that, it was not meant to be, Mashiach should have come before. Mashiach should have come the day the world was created. The reason he didn't come is because Hashem wants a dira b'tachtonim, right? So same thing. Mashiach could have come by the Rebbe bringing Mashiach to our consciousness, but the Rebbe said, no, Mashiach needs to come from you. And the only way for us to do it is when the Rebbe is away. Why is it taking 30 years, 34 years since then? I don't have a good answer.
Look within, you'll find
no one should have an answer.
No?
Why has it taken 2,000 years?
Yeah, same thing. But I'm no.
Why? That's not. You look at
Yeah,
history,
but that's it. I mean, I'm talking about in terms of the Rebbe's children who have been loyal, faithful, committed, devoted, sacrificing, doing more than what the Rebbe asked, doing much more than what the Rebbe anticipated. I'm sorry, but that itself was anticipated by the Rebbe. The Rebbe is like doing. Yeah. But like we're doing it, and it was never about having it perfect. Never.
The Rebbe is not a all or nothing type of guy.
Perfection is an enemy of progress. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bo yireh pnei hagafen.
Amen.
I don't know. I can't say I'm doing everything. Not even close.
Good, don't say it.
Yeah, but don't say it. Yeah, that's anti-social. I'm sorry, that's anti-Chabad. Because you're talking about yourself.
No, I'm saying I can't even pretend.
Yeah, but
first of all, you're part of a collective, and as a collective,
Vayakel Pekudei. That's what the Rebbe spoke that year. That every year it's mechubarin, so you don't see the difference. And the year the Rebbe had the stroke, Vayakel Pekudei was separated, meaning where we emphasize the two. There is how a Jew is part of a Vayakel, and there's a part that the Jew is a Pekudei. And the Rebbe had the stroke right before Pekudei, on Vayakel. Last time the Rebbe spoke was Vayakel, but the Rebbe had the stroke on Monday, Pekudei.
What's the meaning of Pekudei?
Pekudei, individualism.
Pekudei Hashem Yishar.
Pekudei HaMishkan, Mishkan Haidus, one by one. Vayakel is as one.
Right, that's
So there's both. Back to 365. So the last time we learned Kuntres UMa'ayan, we learned about the difference between
It's really just before I was born.
the intellect of an animal and the intellect of a human being. Intellect of an animal is not, and the intellect of the animal does not make the animal intellectual. It's almost like a accessory. It's like an add-on tool to serve the animal.
It's not solid.
No, it's just not natural. It's not. We had the word last time. It's not inherent. It's not inherent. It's not part of it. But a human being, his mind, this is what makes him a mina medaber. A person, a human being, is his mind.
Look at him started.
So the Rebbe Rashab said something very powerful that you're going to look. That Mehdi then said, not every believer is a Jew, but every Jew is a believer. Same thing about Emunah. Emunah by non-Jews exists, but it's not one with them. It's not an inherent thing by default. They can relate to it. They can develop, right? They can have it, but not in the same natural way. By a Yid, he didn't bring it here, but nish tervil or nish terken does not want and cannot separate himself from Hashem Echad. Yeah. So technically, and where do we see this? He said, Shem Shamayim Shagu B'Fikoil. Yirachem Hashem, Yachus Hashem, Teidal Hashem, right? All kind of sayings. And we and despite all the trouble, we're still always beheft. We bond and remain connected to our faith because it's part of us. My daughter, my kid, there was an event this Sunday with a woman who had a crazy miracles that a child drowned for 10 minutes, and the second the child fell into the pool. I'm not sharing the story nicely. It was an event Sunday morning that women organized. Yes. Yeah, she's a Persian woman or something. I don't know. Yeah. And the baby drowned, and the husband says he saw his wife taking a towel, covering her hair, and speaking to Hashem, Hashem, from now on I'm going to cover my hair every day, even if you don't save my child. Like the fact that Jews rush to Emunah in trying times is insanity. It doesn't make sense. The fact that a Jew says Shema Yisrael when he's being murdered is like,
Right, that doesn't make sense.
doesn't make sense. The fact that a Jew comes out of Gaza after 500 days is like, Emunah, Tefillin, Kiddush, Shabbos. It doesn't make sense. Vamalchus.
I mean, it doesn't make sense if you don't factor in the soul.
We're talking about the
The soul doesn't make sense.
Seven.
Why? Yeah. So Emunah is, we are Emunah. Right? We are Emunah by default. It's inherent by us. So, how come when it comes to Parnasa, we mess up? That's the question. V'chenu b'inyan Parnasa. דבאמס הנה הכל יודעים שהעיקר היא ברכת השם. וכל מי שהוא יהודי אינו חושב בשום אופן שהעסק הוא מוקע פרנסה חשוב. Every Jew knows that money grows on trees. It's paper. Right? We spoke about this. ויודע היטב שההשפעה מעץ השם, he knows that the השפעה comes from Hashem. והוא הנויסן לו יש פרנסה על ידי העסק. Hashem gives him פרנסה, אלא שהרוח שתו, שיצר הרע מה שתהיה יסוי, שאינו משים על ליבו אלא דס, אמיץ הדבר עם הנאה. It's like, I don't understand. If you don't believe, and I understand why you're behaving this way, but you believe, not only you believe, it's you. And when it comes to business, you don't get it. You don't take to heart. אחר שעיקרו השפעה עליינו, הרי אינו צריך להיות שום מניע ועיכוב ושום קצר בדבר מה שהחייב יסבח לעשות. Why should you compromise any of the things that Hashem asks you to do? He is the one providing. Why would you, if there's something to compromise on the things that are not related to what He's expecting from you. And even though he won't be able to do proper business as much as he wishes, as much as he thinks he needs, יספיק לו גם מעט עסק, והשם יסברך ינצילו להרוויח במעט זמן. שבמעט העסק שיעשה, ימשך ויסלבש החסד הנקצה ונמשך אליו. How long does it take to close $1 million deal?
42 days?
Or less. How many hours a day? It's very limited. וכאשר נפתה להסס היצר, ומשתה את עצמו ברוח שטות שצריך להתעסק הרבה דווקא, when a person thinks that it's about how much time you're putting into it, ואי אפשר לקבוע איתים לתורה או להספלל כדבוי, and he's unable to have set times for Torah and for davening properly, מצד הזמן והטרדה, ונדמה לו שנכון, כן, כפי אשר מדמה בשכלו השכל והמעוקר על ידי רוח שטות, and he's been convinced by his own mind that no, he can't go to shul, he can't learn because he has to work, והרי לו הקדוש ברוך הוא שאינו מועיל לו ריבוי העסק, Hashem shows him that it doesn't help, והוא הולך סובב כל היום בשווקים בחויבס, and he goes around the whole day trying to do business, מבלי ימצא שום רווח כלל, לא לי שום here, and without any earnings, ומידה כנגד מידה משלם לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, כמו שכתוב, וייסע משוגע, ממראה עיניך אשר תראה. Torah says, Hashem says you will be meshuga. What's meshuga? He says, "Merav adaga mishtoy memoiche at shekshimshuga yechashev." He'll be considered like an idiot, like a crazy person. Shezeu atzmo inyan shtus sharei meshuga ve'ashoite inyan echad lahem. What's a meshuga? כי כמו שאצל המשוגע נדמה שצריך להיות דבר שהוא מופרך אצל הבריא וחלים, כן השויטה ברוב שטוסוב גם כן מסנהג על דרך זה. וכמו שכתוב, חסר משוגעים אני שכינה לדוד שניח לי מה שריר אז כאן בשם משוגע על שם שהוא היפך הדס. A משוגע is someone who takes something that doesn't make sense and rationalizes it and says, I'm doing the right thing. Everybody knows it's wrong. It's time to stop for Ma'ariv and you're continuing. That's משוגע. All right? You can start.